Fair enough. So I guess on that note, back to the couch.
Thank you very much, Para. And as he teased and said, patch 9.3, Doubt, it's here, it's happening.
It is.
Jake's favourite patch of all time.
He
the
just
best
loves
patch.
this patch.
He's a passionate
It's
man.
the best patch, isn't it?
There is one thing you
love
could
this
say
patch.
about Jake, and it is he's passionate.
Yeah.
About being very angry. Some things have changed. It's not the most... I feel like it's not the most groundbreaking patch, but there is something that is very breaking in the patch, which we'll get to. I feel like we should save it for the end.
Yep.
Let's start with the most important thing, and that is, of course, the Heartbreaker Vi and Heartpiercer Fiora skins. We all love skins. We love Valentine's Day skins because we love Valentine's Day here for some reason. So we've got those, but there have been some changes to champions as well.
It definitely has. Of course, you could see the skins on your screen, first of all. I didn't even know they existed till now, so that's nice.
You
They'll
don't,
go well
you
with
don't,
the Ash.
you don't mess around with the Love Heart Ash.
We don't play those champions.
Yeah,
oh, Love
we're
Heart
in
Ash,
different
yeah.
spots.
Yeah.
Like, we're different spots of the map completely. I was more excited by the Chinese New Year skins for Tom Kent.
Yes, Tom
That's
Kent.
the best skin of
Yeah.
all
Good
time.
skin.
Yeah.
It's just so good.
Banger. But to speak about the champions you mentioned right on your screen, now Aatrox loses healing. He drops heavily in priority. Regards to the other top laners, Aurelia, now, like, she has absolutely no ability to withstand mages, so I feel like she dropped right through that last game. She's fallen out of favor. Jake mentioned it before, Akali is just crap. She's awful. She's gone. The other ones, like Liss is unchanged. She's pretty good.
Yeah.
Urgot's still pretty good. I'm blanking on a few others. Cassio got tapped a bit.
Cassio got a love tap again, but it's the second love tap. She's still good. If you're good at Cassio,
Yeah.
she's still very good, very much viable. And, I mean, really, we said goodbye to Camille as well. We
Yes.
said goodbye to Aatrox. We said goodbye to Akali. We still have Cassiopeia. We still have Liss. We still have Urgot.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest changes, like in terms of champions that are nerfed and buffed.
But there were some big changes as well around ADC marksman items.
Certainly is. So Kai'Sa is now just miserable because like Crit is back, and there's the debate that we were having pre-broadcast that we didn't get to Nick to leak because he was actually just talking about wooden food, whatever the hell wooden food is. But anyway, right? Like so, Crit is back. IE is a good starting item. Storm Razor is just completely awful now. It's like a 4th, 5th like luxury. If you can get to it, it buffs up your energizers. So like Static Shiv and Rapid Fire stuff like that. So we will be seeing more of the likes of like Caitlyn. We have seen Jinx before, like Tristana, like these sort of AD carries. I feel like are now playable, whereas before they weren't necessarily.
I like Kai'Sa still. I'm just going to put it out there. I think that Kai'Sa with Infinity Edge instead of Storm Razor has like equal spike. If you just go Infinity Edge straight into like Ginsu's into Hurricane, I think like she stacks like pretty similar. She still gets her Q evolve, and instead of just getting hit by a Energizer auto attack, sometimes it's a billion damage crit auto attack.
We've seen different builds as well for her in just Korea alone in the past couple of days. There was an Essence Reaver start. There was a Blade of the Ruined King build as well. So
Yeah.
I think like she still has a place, but people are really discovering what that place looks like.
Yeah.
'Cause
Well,
her style shifts so much.
Because that is the thing, right? Like it's very new to the patch. So all of a sudden, like the items change and everybody goes, oh my God, like which champions are good? And you play everything. So looking at like pro builds, which a lot of pro players do to look at what the rest of the world is doing, on the first couple of days, you'd literally just see every champion just being tested. And a lot of the players are like, oh, they look up to X player. And then if you had the capacity to like talk to Deft about why he's playing like Twitch or something, he probably laughs. He goes like, yeah, I played it, it's awful. But like some other pro player looks at Deft playing Twitch and is like, oh man,
It's broken.
Yeah, Twitch is so good. So it's a little bit all over the place and everybody is still figuring it out, right?
Well, that kind of leads into a couple of questions from the viewers. At I Believe in You says, what is the most viable... thank you, Rusty. What is the most viable solo queue ADC right now that Crit has been changed?
Lucian, still.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think Lucian Ezreal, in my eyes.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't think the viable champions in solo queue have changed. I think that if you go back to older champions, though, they can be more viable. Like Lane Bully Caitlyn now with Infinity Edge is one that you like. If you want to just stomp lane in solo queue with a duo, I would say play that.
Yeah,
I think if you're solo queuing, Tristana, like for the out of the like what wasn't played beforehand,
Yeah,
like
out of the new stuff.
Tristana, because like she has her own escape in Rocket Jump. She has a really good scaling option in the fact that she gets heaps of thin and then she shoots people away. And then if you're duo queuing, like Caitlyn is broken. Just get your support friend to play Nami or Soraka and sit behind you.
The secret to
That
League of
just gives you
Legends
feels.
is it's easier to win when you're winning. So if you play lane bullies in solo queue, your win rate, woohoo,
There you go.
goes up.
And then at MCCLXXVIII, which translates to 1378, how do the crit changes introduced with this patch affect the bot lane meta?
Overall, support I don't think has changed very much. I think we are just seeing a lot of the tanks. Like that was a Braum versus Tahm Kench matchup. There are other things. Personally, anecdotal experience from myself, I actually kind of like a lot of the enchanters right now. So like, I mean, they feel okay. I think
What
they
are you
can get
playing?
some play. I'm playing everything. I'm literally being just a Soraka goblin going back to Kuden 3 years ago, and it feels real good. But she's also been just a very obnoxious solo queue champ to play against. But
What do you max on your Soraka?
depends on the lane.
Oh, this
Completely
says a lot
depends.
Are
about
you
a
an
person,
E
though.
maxer?
I mean, if you want a dumpster lane, you max E. If they're like a melee matchup and you want a dumpster lane, you max Q. And then if it's a free lane and you're hard winning and you want to protect your AD carry, you can just straight max W because I'll never die. But it depends on the
Emacs all
matchup.
the way.
E max all the
There's
way.
just no exceptions to that rule.
I'm still stuck on Soraka
Sure.
Goblin.
But ultimately, like to go back to the question,
Yep.
support hasn't changed that much. AD carry still top 2, I believe, are Lucian Ezreal, and the others are now just more playable. Varus that last game I thought was weird. People have been playing Jinx like AV last week. Sorry, and like other things, but like so everything else has been brought up to playable.
Yep.
But those two are still at the top.
The one thing I will say about like the Varus picks and things like that, and I don't know whether we're going to see it with like Misfortune or something, but there was an old trend that if you had a really good scaling mid laner in a crit build, like in a crit meta, like say you have an Orianna or an Azir like that, something like that, you just go like a lethality AD carry and just
Yeah.
like try and trash your lane. And that's what I kind of thought they were going for. I thought that we were going to see like our first like Yomu's Dustblade, like answer to this like, wow, crit is a much more expensive item pathing. Like you get 2700 item and you just like queue them twice. They can't crit anyone because they're just out of the team fight.
Yeah.
But of course, the big thing from this patch, the big talking point is the Frostmancy debacle, I guess I want
Yeah.
to say. It's certainly the thing that's got the most heat in this room.
Take me off comp.
Before we get into the argument, can we just explain for the viewers who may not know?
And give a very quick TLDR about
Yeah,
what it is.
go for it.
First things first, before I explain this, if you pick it at home, you're inting and should be reported because it's not currently enabled in live. This is only in competitive and only in some regions as well.
It's been hot fixed.
Yes, it's been hot fixed. Basically, what you do is you go Kleptomancy, you get a Spell Thieves at level 1, or if you're mid lane, you get a first Corrupting Potion, go back and buy the upgraded Frostfang. You do not farm while you've got that item. You take maybe cannons here and there. But the idea is you hit your opponent in the head until you have 500 gold, and then you start farming because you can generate gold while getting it. It's just like that is the basic element of what it is.
And to dive a little bit deeper, there are optimizations you can farm, like because the point is Spell Thief stacks, like they accrue. You can only use them on a champion if you're not CSing. So if you're going for a recall or something, you can take a few minions because 24 seconds back to like get back to lane, stuff like that. In competitive, to put the scope in it a little bit, like it's so weird because it came out of nowhere and everybody's practicing it. And then you look at LCK and it's not like Frostmancer, you just have to start the game. The very first game of LCK this week was Vladimir with coin into Karma. But then there was like a full Kleptomancy, Klepto, Spell Thief start Victor into a Karma who's like, wow, this is a rough matchup. I'm going to take Airy and Corrupting Pot and then build Frostmancy later, build the Frostfang. Ezreal got his Tier, he got his Sheen and then built it. Pawn is playing Azir with Hail of Blades mid into Faker and is then building it like and starting, but he has Hail of Blades, not Klepto. So it's just super weird, but also I love it. It's so I loved turning on LCK and just having no clue what was going to happen.
Yeah. Like
That's fun.
genuine sort of
Yeah.
I'm compelled because
But-
it's a
yeah.
bit of a train wreck and who knows what's going
Yeah, because as a player, I was always like frustrated sometimes when like the patches change and you're playing solo queue on for a week on like a new patch and like you're scrimming on TR because you're playing that old patch. And I was like, it's kind of like an anarchist point of view to just be like, well, like, yeah, it's brand new, but everybody's on the same playing field. I just want to play the new stuff. Like,
Yeah.
let's go.
Let's just watch the world burn for a week.
Yeah, and I like there's obviously like competitive integrity that has to come into it, but we didn't see it first game, which is surprising, but I like it. It's fun.
I am surprised we didn't see it in the first game.
Yeah.
But my gripe with it, right, and this does stem from, we've watched it on Korea, they played a couple days of it, is the game just slows down so much. So, like, as a viewer, maybe you enjoy it more because it's unexpected. But as a viewer, and as an LPL former caster and fan of the region, that just sucks. Like, the game slows down so much. There's more wards to place. There's just more vision dancing. There's not enough action.
It's definitely a Korean style of League of Legends when 4 people have Sightstones. Because obviously Spell Thief builds into the Sightstone. And it's like 2014 Samsung White, just the entire like jungle is warded. And it's kind of funny.
It's lit.
Jake, you've been very quiet. Do you have any opinions?
We know his opinion.
Yeah,
we know his opinion.
We know his opinion. He's fuming inside. But something that can make him a little happier. Love?
Maybe.
Oh.
Maybe?
Maybe.
Pyra love?
Wait, why is it always me?
I don't know. But
Oh,
for
is
some
it
reason
all-
it is.
Is
Everyone
it
is
all our
matched with Pyra.
compatibility
Yeah.
with Pyra?
Let's find. So Pyra
Are
and
you
I
guys
were
trying to like set me up here?
I think that is the idea.
Oh, okay.
You're
I
new to
just
the
want
country.
everyone to be sub 10%.
yeah. I mean, that's brutal.
Wait, do I have to like go on a date with whoever's the most compatible?
Yes.
If you're
I'm going to say
shouting,
yes because
like,
I'm
Yeah,
a full
you got
Alright.
10%.
so I'm fairly certain.
All right,
you
but
and
y'all
I
are buying.
bumping uglies anytime soon. But let's find out how Jake and Pyra match up.
Oh, shit! That is
like
the
the
most
inverse of
unexpected
Dick Boy.
thing I've ever seen.
And
Do you
look how
want me-
happy
do
he
you
is
want me to
about
rate
it.
it?
Yeah,
Please.
you gotta rate it out.
Early in the relationship, they may not be able to see past each other's flaws. You're very short. Once they stop focusing on one another's faults and look to their respective strengths, they'll see a vast pool of attractive qualities, revealing a world of adventure and excitement so often missing from a Capricorn's life. Are you a Capricorn?
I am. You can take me on an adventure spawn?
Absolutely not. I have a kid and a partner.
All of a sudden, I'm very happy for the winner of this contest to go on a date with Pyra.
Who's gonna beat that
Shout.
guy?
I'm getting a steak.
There's gonna be like
There's wiggle
99%.
room.
Oh, that's just brutal. I mean, you said that you're not going to take him on an adventure because you have a kid and a partner. I feel like that's a hell of an adventure to be undertaking. Pyra,
I just want to
between
be a cool uncle.
you want to be a cool uncle. Between Jake and I, who would you pick?
Oh, you're making me choose? Well, I mean, I have to go with the compatibility here. Like, I'm going with my main man Spawn now.
All right.
Can I also say, last time we were talking about adventure in a pre-game segment, Jake screamed out, "Walks are hard, Bryce. Walks are hard." And it might just be throwback day because like that's all. That's it.
Walks are
Walks are hard, yeah. It's true. Walks are hard. The man didn't lie.
Yeah.
All right. Now, the Valentine's Day theme continues tonight. We want to hear your guys' best League of Legends themed pickup lines because I feel like we need to help Pyra get that love. Although apparently not because there's someone sitting right next to him that's a perfect match. But we could give him some lines to take out into the big, scary, wide world and see if they work. Send them in to our Twitter page at OPL using the hashtag IamOPL. Your best league-themed pickup line. It can be rework a champion voice line. It could be something about the river. It could be something about Frostmancy, something or other.
Thank you.
Did you guys ever watch that like clip that was put up by I can't remember who it was. It was a North American pro player where he was challenger and he walked around and asked girls for the prom.
yes.
Not Lolo. It's top laner, plays in Italy.
Yeah.
RF Legendary?
Yes, RF
Yes.
Legendary.
What a
By the way,
banger clip.
That guy is perfect for that because he's so funny. He's such a goofy guy.
Someone go watch that clip.
That was like I'm Challenger where you go to prom with
Yeah.
me or something, right? Was it a couple
Which,
ideas?
but I mean, that also kind of like is the mentality of a lot of challenger players, right?
I mean, I would say yes.
They have jackets.
I don't know how many like because like challenger players they're just accruing the challenger jackets. Like walk into a club with like 4 layers of challenger aviator
There's like
jackets.
VIP
on, just like, hey,
just
what
for
up?
them, Bryce.
So if you send in your submissions, you can win Hex Tech chests and keys. If we read it out, the best ones that we read out on the broadcast, but send them in. I feel like this could be a fun thing to learn a lot about each other that maybe we didn't want to know. All right, it's time to move on to the next game of League of Legends. This is not the pickup line show yet. It's AV versus Order. This is an exciting game.
It should be. It's a very big game. Both of these teams around 3rd and 4th on the ladder as well. So fighting to get that outright place in the standings, at least for today, is an exciting thing coming to the second round robin. Of course, AV did get the upper hand last time, but it was the first game of the season, I believe, and Order have bounced back very hard from that point. So this is set to be a banger.
Yeah, it certainly is because AV like because they have the head-to-head, they are 3rd and Order are 4th. I feel like every time I come into an AV game, especially going up against a team like Order, I'm like, what are we gonna get? Because they're kind of weird.
We don't cheese. We've never cheese. This
No,
isn't a
no.
cheese patch,
No,
Bryce.
like no. What? I'm gonna have to hard disagree with that one. But like, it doesn't even have to be cheese. But AV is a team that can play weird stuff, and Order, in my eyes, are a mega standard team. Like the first game of the split against AV that they lost was like Jace top lane. Jake immediately after the broadcast was like, "What? What was that draft?" He said it like on the interview and was like, "Yeah, like we're not doing that again. Bring us the sledgehammer."
Insane.
That's what I was calling them last split, the sledgehammer. So
Vanilla ice cream versus, like, say, a Maxibon or a Golden Gay Time,
Yeah.
perhaps.
Very
in
well.
terms of-
Yeah, real clean.
Yeah, very,
Just
very
real
smooth.
clean.
Very smooth. Well, I do. I remember sometime the last couple of weeks. I can't remember who on Order said it, but someone did that. It was basically we'll stop playing it when it stops working. Like that sort of traditional standard comps working out pretty well for them so far. So there's a reason they're going back to those. You can check out the games at os.lollysports.com to get a bunch of in-game rewards. That's pretty cool. And the spicy tips for this one.
Jake, actually pretty spicy,
Yeah, you picked Direwolves last time. That one didn't work out too well for you. But you and Bryce, I believe, have backed order. Yep.
And the rest of you boys are backed AV.
Backed AV, so this is going to be a pretty interesting one. It all hinges on this game. And by all, I mean just our tongues. What was that?
That's what I'm saying. It does too. I just realized.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. I mean, it kind of takes the heat out of the last two matches, so maybe we won't even show up. We'll see if we're here after the next game.
Hey, you're all bloody showing up. I'm feeling good. Actually, wait, who lost the first one? No, Jake. Yeah. Jake's in bloody Struggle Town. Hell yeah. What a great start to an OPL weekend.
You might be the only winner. Because if Order win here, you're the only winner. Everyone else must.
And then I catch you on the leaderboards.
Yeah.
Oh,
again.
You're one ahead.
Yeah.
You're one ahead.
I have been one ahead for 2 weeks.
Yeah, and this is my week.
I'm lost now.
Everything's coming up, bloody Paulie B.
It's a bad day to be not Bryce. Someone else who isn't Bryce, it's Shock. He's the Twitter POV stream that you can check out at our Twitter page at OPL. Send in your League of Legends pickup lines there as well. I'm throwing it over the desk.
Yes, indeed. I like that Wipe's little heart thing since we're 98% compatible, Spawn.
Absolutely, we are.
Yeah, this is good stuff. Let's get into the game discussion, though. Let's talk about that stuff.
I didn't see who's starting, Swaith or Sybil.
It is Swaith.
Swaith.
So Sybil's
Thank goodness. I'm so happy.
All right, so talk to me a little bit more about that.
I have never beaten Sybil in a professional game of League of Legends. And, like, the first time we played Avant, like, Sybil was the one playing, and, like, on a patch where, like, early, like, they said it could stall out and all these things could happen, but also Sybil could just play Kha'Zix or Release and eat my whole team alive. So I am very, very happy that Sybil is not being played this game.
He hasn't been playing for a while now. It's been a couple of weeks that Swaith has been the de facto
flip side
starter.
of that is that Swaith might be the best jungler in the league at the moment. So how happy can you be that you're playing him? Very good Evelyn, as well as Karthus and Kane player. So I think that, you know, if you're going to talk about the game, like regardless of patch, he's probably going to get some attention in the draft. And on the flip side, Shock is just like the innovator in the mid laner. He was playing Zillion when no one else was. He was playing Urgot literally before anyone in the world thought it was cool. The OG hipster. I want to see if he has something in the mid lane. If there was ever a game where like Shock is just going to pull out something and blast your whole team, it's probably this one.
Yeah, well, I think the POV viewers are going to hope he does because he will be the one you can watch in this game on his own. We'll take a look at the pick ban, though. It will be on Avant's blue side, a Scion, a Morgana band away. The Urgot follows through on Order side, as does the Jace. I'll throw back. Week 1, of course, was the last time these two teams met. That was with Sybil in the jungle, so things have changed. Something about turntables. There's a Cassio ban on blue side.
There's a Morgana ban as well. Very interesting. Maybe setting themselves up for a first pick Alistar for Aladoric, or just respecting Jake's usefulness on that pick.
That is a very quick Thresh lock-in for Aladoric.
Certainly is, and it makes sense, right? Braum would be something that Jake would fall back to, most likely. We've seen him play it last week, I think, against Gravitas. Thresh has a very good matchup into that at the moment. Also allows Gunkrab to play some of his more immobile AD carries. Maybe this is going to be a Jinx game.
Yeah, I was going to say, Gunkrab really kind of raised some eyebrows in a good way last week with the Jinx play. Now, it looks like Order will lock in the first Caitlyn on 9.3. And under different circumstances, I would say this would be support Karma, but I don't think so.
I actually have no idea what is going to happen here. So I'm going to preface this whole game with, I don't like Spell Thieves top laners, but you're right, that could be a Spell Thieves Karma top lane.
It's
it could
plausible
be a Spell
deniability
Thieves
right now.
Karma mid lane, it could be a Spell Thieves Karma bottom lane.
Yeah, but at least that's a thing.
Do you know Spooks has played Karma jungle for like 4 years?
God.
Could be a Spell Thieves Karma jungle.
This is a quadruple flex pick. We got an Ashlok in bottom, so there's an old school lane with Gunkrab.
Certainly is, and potentially probably going to be jungle picked up here. I would want to see maybe a Karthus picked up. Ashe Karthus would be, it just sounds obnoxious, to be honest, to play against. And Avant just like, they play around the pick so well. They're such a Lane Kingdom team, which sounds really weird to say, but I mean, normally when you play Lane Kingdom, if you have a jungler that farms the quickest and then has Karthus ultimate, there's so much positive to come out of something like this.
Yeah, they follow through with it, so the Karthus does come through. That's why it has commanded some bans. And we'll start to answer that question of where that Karma's going pretty quickly here on the Order side. Yeah, I don't believe that Akali hover for a moment. She is donezo on 9.3.
Certainly is, unless something has changed that I really don't know about. That's an
Nami for
army
Jake.
pickup.
All right. I mean, that's a lane that can definitely hurt. I think you guys were just talking about it before the game started. I believe it was Bryce over at the couch.
And Jake is the OG Nami player. Nami Caitlyn's always been kind of that bully lane. Karthus doesn't lend all that much to ganks in saying that this is a lane that can certainly kill 2v2 if they want to. And if you push up too far, and Caitlyn Nami is a siege lane, Karthus gets behind you, he still kills you. Like, you don't have to be able to set up CC or anything like that. If they're all the way up a lane, you just walk them down with Skittles. So certainly think that it's still a viable matchup.
All right, into ban phase 2.
Ooh,
Got LeBlanc and Olaf both taken away.
that's a top lane Olaf ban.
Yeah, it is chippies, so it makes sense.
Because you got to remember, there's like, unless
They've
Shock
already
is
got the
playing
Karthus locked
Karthus
in,
mid,
yeah.
like that's probably
Yeah.
going to be.
But Chippies
swayed.
is the Olaf top guy.
Yeah, absolutely is. So just a very fun draft, I think, so far. Both teams, kind of what Juve said. When it's a brand new patch, and like no one wants to copy LCK anymore because they just play so disciplined, so
Hey man,
slow.
they're second place
And
in the world.
Well, it's not that. It's just it's so hard to emulate them nowadays.
Yeah.
So I think that, you know, both these teams very much just playing like comfort style League of Legends right now, and we're going to have a big clash of styles because this is going to be like a team fight style versus a fast push like Karma shoves, Caitlyn Nami shoves. I assume Swift
That
is
makes
going to
the
go
game
towards
more
a shoving
interesting
mid
too,
laner.
right? Like when everybody's trying to play the same style, it's just who does it better, right?
Yep.
Xin Zhao is banned away as well, so we have a jungler banned alongside the mid laner there. So now it's up to Order. See what they'll be picking up for Spooks.
Yeah, I'm interested. You know, is it going to be an aggressive jungler, something like a Lee Sin? Is it going to be something like a Kindred?
Maybe it goes back to the Elise.
Maybe he does. Like, I mean, he had a good game on it. He was up 100 CS or something when he lost, so certainly wasn't a
That's
horrible
neat.
performance.
Oh, but the Lee Sin though is still going to be able to do a lot early.
Kills Karthus at level 6,
Yes,
I
I
think,
was going to
most
say, it's a very
importantly.
brittle champion, Karthus.
Yep. So if he's ever able to find him, he has that kill threat, and saying that doesn't farm as quickly as Karthus. It's going to be very similar to what we said about the Olaf pick, except in this stage, Lee Sin isn't going to outscale because Olaf kind of sucks late game.
Yeah.
It's going to be Karthus greatly outscaling. Oh,
and
it is
it's
a mid
not
lane
Karthus jungle. All right, Swathe pulls the old switcheroo, and he brings the Void Bug
Or
out.
is it a top lane Karthus?
I mean, whatever. I have no idea anymore. I'm just going to... Nope, it's a Vladimir. Cool. Somebody's going top somewhere.
All right, so the one thing I do know is that their bottom lane is Thresh Ash.
Are you sure about that?
The rest of it, a little bit unsure of.
Yeah, this is definitely thrown a wrench in the works for sure. So a little bit of time left for Order to decide what they lock in finally. Maybe they do go for the Sylas top and we have a Karma mid, or maybe not. They can flex around on that last pickup. And it will be the Cinder locked in for Swiffer.
So it feels like Order are heavily on a clock this game. This is kind of a Deathball comp, but this is a Deathball comp that comes online like 15, 20 minutes into the game. After that, mid lane Karthus is just, like, picture jungle Karthus, but with even more farm than what you get. If he goes Spell Thieves on top of that, his gold income is going to be so incredibly high this game. So I'm really interested to see how it goes. I like Chippy's response to the Karma top. Mages generally beat mages. Very hard to play tanks into mages, and obviously had something prepared here, but you can just imagine. Vladimir ult with Karthus ult.
Oh,
Like,
God.
that's just, you don't need any more champions after that. You get those two champions in, it's probably a wash.
Avant definitely looking to try and roll over once they get past that danger zone, the 15-20 minute mark that Order will be at their strongest. We'll see who comes online first, who comes out ahead in this one. Remember, this is a very important match here in the second round robin. Both teams currently sitting at 5-3, currently sharing that third place. Yes, there's a tiebreaker, but Order can snatch this one back and get themselves sole control at third place, or Avant could solidify that position.
Yeah, and with Gravitas and Mammoth on the ride, both of these teams would be a little bit nervous about how this looks coming into it. And, you know, that tiebreaker is going to be very important, because if the games go in a very similar fashion, which maybe they want to do, then having a tiebreaker advantage over a team would be huge. So a lot on the line here for Avant and Order, and both of them with, I mean, I don't think we've seen drafts like this in a long time, Pyra.
No,
both of them with very interesting drafts.
I mean, yeah, like way before 9.3, I would have looked at Karma top and been like, all right, well, it's definitely my solo queue. But let's see. Let's have an expert on to talk a little bit about it. We are joined by Choo Choos.
Hi.
Hey, welcome to the Deathman. So you guys have got yourselves the Karma top. It is 9.3. Yeah. Was there any chance that this was going anywhere else?
Yeah, bot lane, I suppose. But I think everyone's quite familiar with the Karma strategy at the moment, so we definitely took that to our advantage.
And now Order, kind of famous for their Deathball comps. AV, kind of famous for, you know, cheese or different styles, whatever you want to call it. difficult to draft against a team like Avant when you want to get a team fight comp?
Definitely. Yeah, AV have always been like quite tricky to draft against, just because like the players are known to play so many different champions. But we're very happy with the way that they drafted and how we responded. So I'm quite confident in the way that this game will play out.
All right, now the viewers at home probably know nothing about any of the champions that have been picked in this game. So talk to me about what the objectives of this team comp are and how you're looking to win the game.
So ideally, this is a Caitlyn draft. We want Caitlyn to go even or ahead in the laning phase, and then ideally around 2-3 items, we want to be sieging through the mid lane and forcing them to hard engage on us. Which is why they probably picked the Vladimir, because they need some answer to the Caitlyn threat. But ideally, you'll probably see this game that Caitlyn will run up mid lane and she'll start attacking everyone, and then AV will feel under threat that they need to kill the Caitlyn, and that's why we have a Syndra and Lee Sin and Karma.
Looking outside of this game and more in the trend that Order has kind of followed recently, you guys were on a very, very big win streak up until the loss last week. Has that really affected the way you guys have approached the game, the atmosphere in the team? Has that changed at all?
Yeah, definitely. It was quite an upsetting loss. We feel that it's definitely a game we shouldn't have lost, but I think the way we've been practicing has changed a bit too much than it should have. But I think we have gotten back into our movement, so I'm quite happy with the way practice has gone this week, and that's how we were able to come up with a draft like this.
And talk to me about how you guys approach new patches, because obviously, you know, this patch is kind of the anomaly, like apart from a pre-season patch, so have it dropped in the middle of the week. Like, what did that look like?
Yeah, it was a massive patch. It's kind of a bit annoying as a coach because we've had back-to-back big patches coming at us, but we really spend like the first 2 days trying to experiment with as many picks as we can, and then towards the later days before OPL happens, we start finalizing what we think is best in meta.
Oh, cool. Good to see that coming through for you guys. Thank you very much for joining us, Choo Choos. Good luck to the team.
Thank you.
All right, so starting things off, we've talked about the theoretical aspect of how this whole Frostomancy thing works, but now we get to actually see it in action, in that Tally is basically just doing his damnedest to deny Chippies from doing anything.
Yeah, absolutely. And Chippies is actually going with the coin option in this, so he's just going to be looking to pick up coins. Vladimir can start coin because he's very hard to abuse due to his sustain in lane, so I like this coming out of the two laners. Obviously, both of them willing to try something different. If it was me, I wouldn't want to play this way, but both of them, obviously, big cheese lords, happy to go toe-to-toe.
Cheese lords, what a phrase. All right.
Just
so
Gouda expert. I don't know
no,
what you want me to call
well,
it.
that is better. That is Gouda expert is nice. It's very specific. It puts a particular emphasis on it. Watching the junglers too, it has been another split jungle map with you know, kind of that horizontal jungling split. Who do you expect to really strike first, though? Like, obviously, Dream and Jake are going to be focusing on getting this pushing, but that is also where Swaith is. Do you think he goes for the early gank bot?
Yeah, I think that's why they're allowing themselves to be pushed in, right? It's very hard to get control over the wave when you have a jungler sitting behind you. They do have the sustain advantage. Hook is on, however.
Okay, they've caught Jake. Ooh, doesn't get the flay.
I mean, the dive could be there right now. They don't have level 6 on Karthus, but they do have themselves the dive plus the ability to be able to lantern Swaith back out from underneath the turret. So you see Spooks go for the earlier recall. Actually, we'll get one camp less.
Okay, they're going to lantern forward. Hook doesn't
Oh,
land.
double bubble
does. That is pretty big right there.
Oh, Trap wasn't down in time there for Dream. That's maybe a little bit of stage nerves coming in, because you would like to think that an 80 carry could land that combo every single time, Pyra. Bubble into Trap into a big headshot is obviously the highest damage trade you can get.
Yeah, that's massive. Good old lane bully dominance. However, it has been kind of given as good as it's gotten. Gunkrab going with the Doran shield strat as well, so he has a bit more sustain early on. Now Swaith standing on a ward. Doesn't realize that's what he's doing, so Spook saw him coming a mile away, or heard him as he's Lee Sin.
In saying that, lucky Spooks probably missed that warning shot that he threw out as well, because Aladoric was moving down the lane. Will now be spotted out by a sweeper, and Swaith gets himself a 2-camp lead and certainly has tempo on this map.
He does. A lot of switch up from the Avant gaming lineup. He talked about it in that interview at the start, that they just love innovating. This is a team that's not afraid to try different things. It's clearly rewarded them. I mean, you look at the expectations, as Spooks misses another Q there. You look at the expectations that was on this team at the start of the split, and they weren't anywhere near, you know, 3rd, 4th place.
Yeah, they
I think
certainly might.
people didn't really know where to place Avant for the most part, myself included, for sure.
Yeah, and I think what kind of was thought is that they had made big changes in the infrastructure department, you know, bringing in someone like Rusty and someone like Coach Kai to be able to help this team. Chippy's, I think, was, you know, undoubtedly a very good pickup for this Avant Gaming lineup, but then it was like, how do the members from Tectonic take place? And, you know, how does everyone else fit in? Like, how is Sybil going to be able to mentor Swaith into this role? And I think that there was just a lot of questions, and as you mentioned, on the other lineup, teams like Mammoth and like Gravitas, there felt like there wasn't the same amount of questions, much more consistent players historically. However, Avant have shown that they don't really need consistency. They would take innovation, as now the gank is on.
Yeah, looks like he goes for Dream, tries to get the hook
Got
back,
him.
and they're going to get that one. It's going to be first blood to Shock from downtown in the mid lane.
Yeah, and that's really nicely done. As I mentioned, you know, the ability to be able to impact that lane from the jungle or mid is going to win a lot of the side lanes. Order didn't respect the pick with the ban, and now the flex coming out into different roles really shows how versatile this Avant lineup is.
Yeah.
And that was all 4 summoner spells as well, for only an Ignite.
And that's also the lane that Order wants to get ahead of Avant, especially. Shock does get jumped on, and it looks like, scattering the weak, Shock will be able to get away just barely, the Unleashed Power. But he does burn his barrier and his flash to do it.
Yeah, so in response, Spooks looks for a gank, but at the same time, certainly not the same result. You know, the first blood going across with the 3 assists versus just the burnt summoner spells, especially when Order had to burn summoner spells bottom lane. It's going to be a big lead, 1,000 gold right now for the Avant Gaming lineup. And as I mentioned, they kind of do hold the scaling card, just given the fact that they have Vlad Karthus. So, you know, you've got to start worrying if Order can really bring this early game back.
Well, we're going to have to keep eyes on it, of course, across the board. Chippy's starting to feel a little more confident up in this top, but there's the Carmelishan, and he does get rooted up in the pool here. A little bit of harassment coming through. It is going to take a little bit of getting used to try and talk about this Frostomancy thing, because I usually look at CS differences and try to, like, extrapolate what that might mean for gold. But this is doing my head in right now, Spawn. I see the 4, and I'm like, oh, he must be losing massively.
Yeah,
Wait a minute.
Look at the items, right? And they're pretty equal on items. Chippy's has an extra 200 gold unspent and a 500 gold lead. But really not going to be all that much happening in this lane, as you mentioned. Very hard for them to kill each other, given the defensive tendency of Karma and the lack of AP right now for the Vladimir.
That's true.
This is kind of why I don't like it, Pyro, because nothing's going to happen in that lane.
Well, it's only one lane. That's the nice thing. We can talk about all the other
Oh,
lanes
he
because
can
that's
farm
where everything's
again.
happening.
No, he can farm again. It's finally transformed. So
There
this
we
is
go.
actually when it comes online, the ability to, you know, take something like this and now be able to CS with it as well. Want to see what the itemization is?
Ooh, Swift going in to try and steal blue buff. Ash Arrow comes out. Spooks dodges away. Wall of Pain comes through. Avant really trying to push their little advantages right now. Picking up this blue buff would be a good start for them. They've invested so much jungle and river warding at the moment. A lot of vision secured by the Avant lineup in this game.
Yeah, certainly have, and there's a dragon available, and Swathe has got that blue buff now, and the Evolve will be able to deny it from Shock, who's gone with Merc Treads. Has to be able to scale into this game. Shock's just a really smart player. If we want to talk about that for a little bit, you know, normally when you look at Karthus, you're thinking, you know, maybe he's going Rod of Ages, maybe even tier Rod of Ages, you know, something super scaling. But he's probably just going to go for Luden's Echo.
Yeah.
And probably not going to look to lane Kingdom it and try and attack the side lane and try and use the Kha'Zix to generate a lead for him. You know, he's already got 1 kill and those stacks on the Dark Seal. Going to just try and farm up Dark Harvester stacks. And I think that this is a really smart way to play it, because as soon as Order committed to Karma, as has already been mentioned, they're committing to a slow-paced game. Hook is on again.
Oh, mana for Dream right now. Bubbles coming through. That's another Requiem, and goodbye, Dream. Gun Crab even steals it away before Shock can finish the fall. And now they brought Swathe in. They can start hitting on the turret plating here.
Yeah, absolutely they can. And there is no rotation. There is no counterplay from the Order lineup. You can see Tally goes in with his Frostfangs, gets very deep vision topside. But you're playing against the Vladimir. You're not going to kill the Vladimir. And meanwhile, your bottom lane is falling into a 20 CS hole when they're playing something like an army. This is just not where they want their lanes to be. And the ebb and flow of the game just seems like Avant are very, very comfortable with where it's currently seated.
And they just following the game plan to the letter so far. I think it's great you mentioned how Shock is kind of this cerebral player that will look for that smart move there rather than just outright trying to make the highlight play. I think that's a big part of why Avant have been so strong altogether. I mean, name recognition. People look at like veteran names. You mentioned Mammoth earlier as being like full of stars. That's not everything, right? You want somebody who can really deliver in these different ways. And that's clearly something that Avant have found. 10 minutes into this game now, we can see it bearing fruit with a 1,500 gold advantage.
And look how much pressure is on this bottom lane. Once again, they go.
And they find everything, even through the cleanse. Dream got cleansed of his own HP bar.
Certainly did, and Jake was on a roam towards the mid lane. Want to be able to spot the gank coming down. Well, there's no way that is going to happen. Leaves the AD carry alone. As you mentioned, Clen back up and available, but Flash wasn't there. So they just spend Aladoric summon a spell, and they continue to try and camp this bottom lane.
Swayth has been everywhere here, but well, everywhere on the bottom, that I should say. Looks like Spooks is coming in, try and find revenge on Shock, but Shock plays very smart to his stronger side. Doesn't actually have a whole lot of vision there either. It's one in the river he just places down. But still, worked out for him. Order scrambling to try and make a play here.
Looks like they're just trying to fight for some control back. They know that the big ultimates of the Requiem as well as the Ash Arrow are down. So instead of, getting that pick because Shock played respectfully and did the right thing, they just go and try and regain bottom side vision control. Tally going to teleport back towards the top side of the map. Now has a Fiends competed as well.
Yeah. Emo Plague is on, though, for Chippies. Down to half health. Vladimir's health bar always a little bit deceptive, but Tally seemed to have the better
Here
for
we
now.
go.
Spook's trying to steal some jungle camps
He's
away,
dead.
and now he's going to get caught. Flayed into the box he goes. Swiffer is not going to last much longer as well. The heal, the flash already burnt, flashing forward. Swiffer trying to get away, but Gunkrab is there as well, and he only needs one more auto attack. Flashing
Gonna
forward,
get 'em
looking
all.
for Jake, and he fires the arrows in. The Requiem coming through, and Jake knows he's a dead man. 2 kills for a Gunkrab.
And a really nice play there for the Avant Gaming lineup. Such discipline. That's the first aggressive play that Order have looked for all game, and it was only an invade onto the Raptors, Pyra, and already they just keep everyone out. They say, you know what, we're not going to allow them to do this. We have control of the bottom side of the map, and you have to question why Order's playing towards this side. As we mentioned, they had sustain in the form of an army. They could have just sat there and said, you know what, we'll take the 20 CS deficit, we'll swap at 14 minutes, try and pick up something like a Rift Herald, play around Tally's push and continue to try and take topside cramps. Well, that hasn't happened, and now there's 6-0 on the side of Avant Gaming and down 4,000 gold.
Big lead for Avant Gaming in this one. Order have not been able to find anything on the map just yet.
And it's the little things, right? So Avant know right now that there is a cross-map play available, which is in the form of the Rift Herald. So Swayth gets there early. He picks himself up the Scuttle Crab. Now it's on complete vision. And they have the Ash Arrow available. They can look to fight this if they so choose, and they are so much stronger. If Order don't get this play, they're in so much trouble.
And the Ash Arrow comes through as well. Avant are trying to close in here, and they might just be able to do it. Spooks is kind of caught in the back of the pit, and now
Spooks has no
it might
help.
come down to a smite fight, if even that, and they're going to hook back in Swiffer, pull him, Aladoric, they found everything. Swift just takes away the Rift Herald. They take Swiffer's life. Avant are running this game.
They certainly are. Every single lane for Avant is winning. And Order just have no answer. They're going to immediately drop the Rift Arrow. Look how decisive this young team
They're
is.
still turret plating here. They're going to get even more gold.
It is so fun to watch Avant play at the moment. That's a visual
Shelly?
bug. That's a visual bug. Happens every single time.
Overstepped a little bit. But yeah, no, it is really awesome to watch how decisive, how clean Avant are playing this one out.
And Swayth straight back into the jungle. That's all of a sudden, 4 plates go on bottom lane, 2 plates go on mid lane, and I think a plate go on top. This is a 5,000 gold lead at 14 minutes.
7 kills to 0. Big gold lead. Even the Dragon extra, it's allowed them to kind of move a little faster around this map. And all of a sudden, Avant's looking very, very much in the lead here. Another tower falls down. Bottom Chippies finishes the job that Gunkrab and Aladoric started. Swayth free hitting another Cloud Dragon. I think the big saving grace here is that, Order haven't had to worry about an Infernal or something coming up.
I mean, they've got bigger worries right now. They've got themselves a 7,000 gold deficit at 15 minutes into the game. When we said this is a team that will potentially get outscaled, well, now you've a full item behind in the 80 carry position, as well as, half an item everywhere else on the map. I mean, you have been outscaled at this point.
Yeah, this is where they were supposed to be strong, the 15-minute mark, when they had a window to really ruin Avant's day, but it's their own that's kind of been messed up here. So this is terrifying if you're Order.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely it is. And I think that the big thing is, right, is what play do they look like to get back in? Because they haven't got the setup CC. I mean, you're looking for a Spooks kick, but he's down 2 levels. He's down 30 farm. Swayth doing to him what he was, able to do last weekend in the loss. At the same time, you're looking at, the Caitlyn without even Infinity Edge at this stage. They're walking through a fully watered jungle right now. And they just can't generate anything because they don't have the same tools as Avant. It is so much easier to shoot an Ash Arrow, press Requiem and someone dies. than it is to work with the tools that Order had.
Half the time, the Requiem hasn't even been necessary because Guncrab's just been chasing the whole way.
I mean, he's still 1-0-3, and the plays have been pretty far away from him. Shock would be a very happy man with all the extra economy he's been able to pick up.
That's very true. So the pressure keeps on mounting here, and the question is going to be, how can Order arrest this momentum? It just seems like the game is getting very out of hand very quickly.
Because if we went to the gold right now, Dream is at least 3,000 gold behind. At least. And Guncrab's about to pick himself up another item on top of it. I would say, you know, if I was going to take a stab in the dark, maybe 3,200, 3,300 gold lead right now would be the difference between the 80 carries.
Yeah, that's rough.
Got completed boots too, going to have a completed Zeal item most likely. It's just, it's such a tough spot to play a game, especially as a Caitlyn from, because she's not known for her greatest mid game. She has a huge trough right now, and the whole comp is built around it.
Yeah. You can tell how confident Avant are really feeling here, because on 5 stacks of the Darksteel, Shock just goes straight for the Medjais.
Well, because he's not going to actually fight.
Yeah, he can just play back. He can still be useful from the distance.
And look at what they're doing. This is exactly how they want to set up, right? They're going to race forward, Ash Arrow someone.
Wait to pull the trigger here, and the Ash Arrow doesn't land, but the Requiem's still going to chunk out a little bit of members of Order, and that means that Avant can start pushing in the mid lane. Chippies, though, is going to get jumped on here. Looks like his pool was already expended. Kick back, and there's the shutdown. So Tally will deny the perfect game from Avant.
But at the same time, I mean, now Spooks is called off, so this is going to be a 1-for-1 play at best. Spooks is on the middle of a ward. They have easy rotation down. Instead, they just decide, you know, let's not take the risky play. Let's instead siege mid lane turret.
Okay, Swathe spotted out by Spooks there. So, could have been a lot worse. Spooks is going to follow all the way through, forcing the jump out of Swathe. Still, though, Avant's response, pushing pressure on the mid.
So in the end, a good play from Order there. You know, they're able to dodge out on the mid lane arrow. They read that the play was coming. However, I mean, it's still 7,000 gold. There's not all that many positives to take from the
do that
game,
about
Mara.
10 more times and we'll talk.
Yeah,
sure.
10? I would say they need a couple more of that, or they need to actually get some big winning team fights. Red Buff trying to be the pickup here. They will successfully put it over onto Dream, but who side lanes on this lineup? There's just so many holes. Like, Tally can go into a side lane, but no one else really can.
Yeah. That's kind of the rough thing for sure. And it's still only 18 minutes into this game, but with how far ahead Avant are, you got to think like at the 20-minute mark, they can start forcing plays on the Baron. They're going to open up this map for it anyway. Scout of the Week does land onto Shock, but he still plays a nice distance. Aladoric zones with that hook. All of a sudden, all 3 outers are down, and Order don't have any to answer for.
Yeah, and the one lane that was winning was kind of mid lane. It was up 20 CS at one point, I think I remember saying, and now that's not even the case. 600 gold shutdown available. Aetherwood's going to be picked up. This is going to be maximum ability power. He's going to go for the Spellbinder into probably Death Cap. And just going to look to hit R real hard.
Yeah. That's a lot of AP coming through there. So as much as Shock can max out, he will. Control of this map, especially around the Baron Pit, 100% in the favor of Avant. Order are going to need to get some eyes on this. Because if Avant do push early for that Baron, that might be a chance for them to try and disrupt or steal it away with Spooks.
Even the Wings Evolve coming out. Like, this is a team that wants to fight really quickly. Don't normally see that. We normally see maybe an RQ Evolve or, you know, a QW Evolve, something like that. But Wings, such a fun Kha'Zix Evolve. Being able to get those leap resets and the additional distance, certainly going to help with generating these picks.
You called them a Lane Kingdom team, but I think Avant are more of a Rift Kingdom team at this point. They can just step all over it.
Absolutely. I mean, right now you can see that Aladoric just walks into the jungle solo, clears out a ward in front of, you know, 4 members of this Order lineup. Spooks is the one catching side lanes at the moment. Like, there is no way that they can send Swiffer there by himself because he will just die.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, you got to think that, like, Order, if they can maybe try and play a little bit of Avant's aggression against them, if they do have solo players stepping deep into the jungle, that they can maybe collapse. But again, they have to do it consistently. They have to make Avant afraid of their jungle, and right now they have no reason to be.
Well, let's talk about another part that actually kind of changed in League of Legends, which is the shutdown introduction at the start of the year. Because the only way that Order will really win this game is that everyone on Avant is slowly going to creep themselves towards an 1,000 gold shutdown. You know, that's just the nature of the game.
And then if they die.
Yeah, and then if all of them start a Baron with, you know, a cheeky ward somewhere or something like that, and Order, and this is like the steps they need to take. Somehow, get in a team fight. Shock needs to ult before he dies. They need to CC him so the ult doesn't go off. So, like, that's the first thing. if Requiem goes off at the moment, it nearly just kills everyone. And then somehow they need to wipe them cleanly, get Baron, and push down turrets.
Add to that the fact that everybody on Order, apart from Tally, pretty much does single target damage.
Yeah, absolutely. Sure. You know, I'm trying to be the positive person in this broadcast right now, which isn't normally my strong
I'm trying to compliment you. I'm
Yeah.
trying to fill in being the negative guy. You know, this is how the relationship works, Spawn.
This is the 2% showing itself on broadcast right now.
Okay.
But yeah, that's the only way that they get like a winning team fight, right? So then it's like, okay, how else can they do it? Maybe if they group up in 5 and Siege and, you know, maybe try and force that engage that Choo-Choo's were talking. But this is really a game that, you know, you can't criticize team comp because this game was over in laning phase.
Oh, that's a good point. Aladoric forces the quick flash out of Jake there. He can just throw those
Ash
hooks
arrow?
up there. There's the Ash Arrow. He dashes away. But you can see Swaith was sniffing right behind him there.
Spooks is going for a Duskblade. He has himself a very strange item on Summoner's Rift right now, Pyra.
Serrated Dirk.
Yeah, Serrated Dirk for Lee Sin. Not the most standard of items.
I mean, he just wants to delete people at this point, right? If he can, then that starts to change it a little bit. I mean, it's a...
He's face check 3.
Oh, boy. Hook. It's going to land just off screen there, but there's the Requiem. Spooks is going to get a heal up from Swiffer just to make sure he stays alive. But, yeah, that does start to sting a little bit. Requiem across the map here.
Did Shock just base without shopping? Must have had to base before 1250 gold, so wasn't able to come out with any additional AP. Still got the flash, still got the heal. They got a flash a moment before that, and now they've caught him out again. They get his flash now. Hook
and
is
the hook
on.
lands. Max range here. Flays back. Spooks is burning down, and he's going to go down to Aladoric's Ignite, and that should start up the Baron.
And they use everything. They use Jake's heal. They use like the ebb and flow. He has to burn his flash. Now with Baron up and alive, you know, even though they don't have a tank necessarily, Order don't have a jungler.
They're doing this with 4, by the way. Chippies hasn't even pulled the trigger on his teleport in. And he's just going to immediately start pushing that wave as soon as they get the smite down. One attempt by Swiffer to steal it away! You gotta be kidding me!
And Swiffer steals the Baron. A wry grin out of the captain of Order. That was the last play left available.
That might have saved the game for Order right now. They've got a long way to go here, Spawn, but that was about the only thing they could have done.
But they're going to have a Caitlyn with a Baron buff and a Siege comp. I mean, miracles are sometimes on the card. As you mentioned, this is still such a long way to go in this game. They're still down 6,000 gold. But the fact they were even able to get that is, you know, really, really strange.
I mean, still, though, like, he times it well. It looks like he had vision of it.
Yeah.
Because the control ward did not see the other one.
And the smite was used.
Early, yes.
So now,
A little bit of hubris from
Swaith
Avant.
might want to just go kill the guy that just stole his Baron.
Swiffer, though, man, how about that? In
mean-
a game like this where you're just down so far behind.
Imagine a game where you're 80 carry. The sole linchpin of this comp is 0-3, and he's a full item down. Like, this isn't one of those hubris where I'm like, oh, he's nearly an item down. Like, he is an item and a half down. Gunkrab, if Gunkrab and Dream walk up to each other and shoot each other, Gunkrab kills him before, like, taking 3 auto attacks.
Yeah,
Like, he's just going to demolish him.
fills him full arrows.
So
for sure.
Order still can't do anything, even though they just stole the Baron buff.
I mean,
This is the most hollow Baron buff in the game.
They're trying to slow the game down a little bit, but you're right. It seems kind of almost like not a whole lot changed.
Nothing changed. The good news is they don't have to play against the Baron buff.
Yeah, I guess the good news is nothing changed.
Yeah.
Not more changed in the negative for them. Yeah, so this is still a very rough game for Order here. 24 and a half minutes in. And it's a kind of a 1-3-1, but Avant kind of keep like snapping back together as a 5-man every now and again, or at least a 4-man.
Well, the reason Order is staying in the 1-3-1 is it is actually the most beneficial way to gain gold on the map. You're farming all 3 lanes simultaneously. You're getting a lot of experience on the map. You know, there's just a lot of positives. The problem with all of that is that they're not a 1-3-1 composition. We've already said Syndra really struggles in the side lane, so Spooks has to hover Syndra. That means that Avant are able to push in, take a turret against a Baron buff, which you very rarely see in modern-day League of Legends ever since the changes to the creeps. Spooks also now potentially caught out here. And they'll be able to get the Dragon again. So this is 4 Dragons stacking up, and we've already said, you know, scary scaling comp coming out of the Avant Gaming lineup. They finally RNG themselves a Fire Drake as well.
Yeah, it's going to be a little while before it comes online, though, for sure. But there's some pretty speedy boys if you look at what they've currently got with the 3 Cloud Drakes. And I think the Mountain's actually, good for this team that is going to be able to push in towers as well.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
nice.
The Mountain would be so useless for Order because they can't do anything, and it is so useful for the Avant Gaming lineup because, as you mentioned, they've had push in all the lanes and they're going to get access to neutral objectives again. So it is a very useful Dragon. The resets coming out right now onto the map also mean the air drakes are really, really crucial for them as well. They just get everywhere those 2 or 3 seconds quicker and makes it very unpredictable to play against them.
Yeah, looks like Baron buff expires. Oh, no, still on. They just weren't in range.
Swathe also a full item ahead of Spooks right now. 60 CS up. Only 1 level. Shows, and this is my problem with jungle experience right now. If this was 2 patches ago, 3 patches ago, Swathe would be like 3 levels over Spooks right now. He would be absolutely destroying it.
Good old game changes, though, meaning that Spooks is still keeping up to some degree. All the same, though, items telling a much bigger story than levels there. Oh, Swathe dodges out of that Scout of the Week, of course. That was a lot of noise.
Tally is working towards 2 different items at the same time and has the makings of an Ardent Sensor, I think.
Yeah, and there's already one completed for Jake, too.
And also toward, maybe it's a Redemption then, and also towards a Death Cap at the same time. So not sure whether he's a support or a tank.
I guess when you go top karma, you have an identity crisis sometimes.
Yeah, in this case, I would say he protect, he attack.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
But as Choo Choo said, it is all about the Caitlyn, right? She's still in that power trough, but 2 items now. Working towards that 3rd. I mean, there will come a time when the Caitlyn will be scary. It's just do Avant end before that.
Yeah, if it's 6 items versus 6 items, I agree that Caitlyn might be better than Ashe in some situations. However, unfortunately, it is going to be 2 items versus 3.5 items, and that's an arrow.
Dodge out. Yeah. Order got the fear in them right now, for good reason as well. Avant pushing deeper and deeper into the Order jungle.
And only a minute until that Baron buff, and the Baron buff didn't really change any of the state of the game for Order. As we mentioned, it bought them the 6 minutes until it was back up and alive. Now 1 more minute remaining, they're going to get a final shop in. Deathcap picked up for Tally is a huge... I actually would like to... Can we check in with Tally's gold right now, Mr. Observers?
Yeah,
so,
we got it.
I mean, that shows that this is a viable strategy, because in a game where it's 4 turrets versus 1, Tally is... like within touching distance of gold.
He's gone into debt too. He does the futures market to actually finish that buy. That's funny.
You can see really it's Dream that is 3,000 gold down and in an absolute power trough at the moment.
Yeah.
Spooks as well, but going to be less impactful for the Lee Sin, probably more for his kick flash at this stage.
Feels bad he can't complete another Zeal item either.
Yep. Hopefully, if you're an Order fan, gets it off this mid lane wave and might be able to reset before the Baron, but the Baron is so quick. And we keep mentioning this, but Avant just have control over the area. They also need level 16 on Swiffer if they're ever going to fight. And he's sharing experience with the whole team right now. There's just so many positives to talk about. The only negative I would say from Avant is their last 2 of the setup play, the set play, have missed. But the good thing is because they're under no pressure, they can just throw it a couple more times. And eventually it's going to hit again because it hit at the start of the game and it was very promising.
It's very true. Avant wrap around here. Now they have Chippy still pushing bottom. He's actually not contested right now. So if Order don't respond quick enough, they could end up losing a base turret. Now he won't commit to it though.
But who do
Order
you send
5
back
members
to
in
deal with it?
That's the problem. I mean, yeah, Tally's been the only one really to hold him, but he'd have to expend a teleport.
Now they're looking for him.
They're going to try and catch him there. That is a bunch of speedy members of Order. But as long as Chippy's out of combat, he can actually kind of match that with those dragons. And Avant are hesitating, but they're going to start on this Baron with Swathe.
It's only Swathe doing it. He's down to half health. They will drop the Lantern in there, but I don't think they can 2-man it.
Avant got a little indecisive there.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was because Swathe kind of was saying, hey, I don't have that GA at this stage of the game. I don't have any armor, really. Like, I'm going to struggle to take this one down. So he took a bunch of free damage before really even any other member wanted to... Oh!
Hold on, they got the stun. Gun Crab. Oh, clutch Lantern from Aladoric.
And QSS, I mean, this is a gold lead we were talking about, Pyra. When you have a QSS and your other AD carry doesn't, you know, you can make that one extra mistake. That's 1,000 gold shutdown that was nearly picked there, but the gold lead lends itself back.
And that is why you always pick up the QSS if you have the extra gold for it. Take note, solo Q AD carries. Mid tower gets fired off by Order, so they do get a much-needed gold infusion in that mid lane. But
however,
look what's happening on bottom. Chippies has been uncontested. They lose a base turret for it.
And, you know, maybe it's time that you have to potentially send Swiffer against it, because you're not going to be able to send Tally. He's too crucial to the rest of the team comp.
Oh, boy.
Fire Dragon going to be started up. This is going to be a Death Cap Vladimir with Spellbinder and a Fire Drake.
I want to see how much AP the Karthus is going to have after the next item buy.
Yeah, I mean, well, you will be able to see it because the Vladimir should have it right now. He is that item up.
Oh boy. So 2 members starting on the Baron as well. Avant, though, have not fully committed to it, and they will get peeled away by order.
Swiffer still not able to pick up that level 16 as well, so still in that power trough that we've been speaking about. Shock, at the other hand, has got it.
And Dream does have a shift, too. That's critical. Now he has 3 items on the Caitlyn, but he's still very far behind.
Certainly is. This game has stalled out. So Order, I mean, they're behind. They're a full item behind in everywhere it counts, but the game's stalled out to where their game plan can come on. I'm trying to fish positives. Help me out here. Their game plan's kind of online.
They haven't lost yet. That's a positive, Spawn.
The Nexus is still alive.
Yeah, Nexus is up. I think, honestly, though, like the biggest thing, that Baron did allow some kind of a reset. It wasn't a huge one, but it arrested some of the momentum of Avant. And I think they've looked a little less decisive since then. Now Aladoric is forced to flash away, and you start to see this is minor, this is small, but they are making little mistakes, which they were not in the start of this game.
It looks like Order I was trying to think of how I wanted to describe it. For the first 25 minutes of this game, it looked like Order actually couldn't play the game. Like, Avant had so much suffocating control of it, right? Mm-hmm. It looks like right now that Order is at least in a position where they can play the game again.
But they are losing a lot of side pressure here.
Yeah, I mean, they're not playing the game on equal footing, Pyra, but at least they are technically playing League of Legends right now.
No, that's true. They do lose an inhibitor down bottom as Chippy's just death by 1,000, I want to say cuts, but he's really just throwing bits of blood at it. That's kind of what Vladimir does. Avant still want this Baron buff, but they're trying to be as safe as possible, as stealthy as possible, and they won't commit 5 to it. They keep Chippies out of the action.
And Swiffer needs a reset right now because he has no mana. He can't actually fight.
He's going to back away.
Wonder if Avant know that.
Do they? I don't think so.
Oh, Spooks is really far up right now.
Okay, he checks the Baron, knows that they're not on it with the Sonic Wave, and he just walks away. Avant are playing deadly death.
Spooks is going to recheck.
Here we go. And the Ash Arrow is not going to matter. At this point, Spooks goes gold for just a second. Gets the kickback. Swathe does get stalled up. Both junglers are dead. And now the fight's going to be on anyways. Chippies comes around from the back line trying to delete the members of Order. They say, screw the Baron, we can take this team fight. But Order have reset here, and in a 4v4, Avant can't find anything else.
Yeah, I mean, really props to Chippies there because he turned a disastrous situation around. He got all 3 summoner spells again out of the bottom lane. Only the Cleanse for Dreams remaining. Order, are they going to greed for this?
Don't think they will. Stepping forward, here comes Jake.
Now
they will. Wall of Pain comes up, and that is going to be a dead fish. Gunkrab picks himself up another quick kill.
And that is huge. Aladoric still fishing for the hooks.
Oh, and he even walks away from that one. So no smite, no problem, but Spooks is going to have to make a mad dash here if he wanted to try and get the steal away.
Again,
and he's on wave clear duty. Swiffer would have to get the steal again. They peeled away. It's low. Avant indecisive here. They're not going to go for it. Wall of Pain up here. Gunkrab keeps it lit for a second. Order, they have forced Avant back as the Baron regens.
But they know right now that it is hook.
Once again, find Tally. This time he flashes away, ignited, but not low enough. And Swathe trying to find the deletion. He's going to get taken down by Tally. Requiem doesn't find the kill onto Swiffer.
And you can see finally the team fights are starting to go a little bit more Order favored. Finally, the Zhonyas have been picked up. So they're able to live through the Requiem. They've got themselves a redemption in the making. So that's going to be a little bit more assistance against Shock. But at the same time, Avant just seem to have all the pace in the game. They're the one deciding whether the Baron is started up, and you got to compliment Order for not letting it go down, but still the ball so heavily in Avant's court, and another dragon about to spawn.
Avant do have all the cards to play with right now, but it is Order who just barely manage to hold them off time and again. It would be a miracle of a comeback if they could pull it off, but they just keep getting put on the back foot here, and now the Baron should be started in earnest, or maybe not. Avant not committing to this as there's still a lot of vision here, and many members of Order are in the area. Chippy's still on that side lane. I have not seen him teleport into a fight once. He's been walking it out. Gunkrab getting chunked. Wall of Pain forced, and Dream is going for the chase here. He gets the Piltover Peacemaker into the back of Aladoric, and the Caitlyn is starting to come online. Swathe
and they might just go Baron. That is such a huge chunk coming out of Dream. Rides the whole momentum forward. Now without a jungler, now without an AD carry, Order might say, stuff this, let's do the Baron.
Chippies hasn't even moved away from his position on bottom. Avant are going to give this away.
Oh, but they're
The
going to get
second Baron of the game.
they're going to get the biggest Elder Dragon ever in response.
That is pretty huge, so we're going to be in for Baron versus Elder. But Order have still gotten something here.
Absolutely they have. I mean, this is a miracle. I am so amazed. Like, I am legitimately shocked that the game has gone for this far after how Avant started it. They had all the play, all the momentum on their side of the map. They were able to generate, I think, a 7,000 gold lead before Baron had spawned. That is so incredibly, you know, like, that's just such an incredible early game Pyra. And
yeah,
that one Baron steal just stalled this game out, and now Order has themselves the second Baron.
And this time they actually just took it by virtue of Dream. This is a 0-kill Caitlyn, who came back from, you know, a massive deficit, the brink, really, of just getting almost nothing done. And he's working his way up to items 4 and 5 here to really get everything. Alidoric flashes, doesn't get the hook, gets melted down, Spooks takes him out, the wave comes through, Order have a man advantage now.
They had Swiffer pinned out. They knew exactly where he was, and Swiffer just says no. Just turns around and bops him, as Rusty would say.
And you can see it. I mean, look at the face of Alidoric here. Just a little downcast
God.
after it all. This is a team that had nearly closed the game.
Pyra, I'm about to update you in OS memes.
Oh, you go right on ahead, my friend. I need to learn.
Spooks is Carbon. He has gone for the Redemption Lee Sin.
Oh, dear.
Redemption Lee Sin was a Carbon trait. Famously won them the Gauntlet game versus Sin Gaming. And was memed for a very long time. And then when the Redemption Rush started coming out of Olaf, I had a chat with Carbon. He said, I was just ahead of my time. It's such a fantastic item. Spooks has followed in the footsteps of one of the OS jungle fathers and is now playing Redemption Lee Sin.
All right. Well, you can always take a little bit of inspiration from history there, Spawn. Spooks, it's also symbolic. They're looking for redemption this game. From the 20-minute mark, it has shifted so far. And, you know, you look at even the gold game right now as we get close to full build of items where it doesn't really matter too much anymore. Order have pulled it back within about 6K. And they are the ones pushing the line here. There's a lot of standing gold still available in these towers that they've yet to knock down.
But how do you knock them down? Like, sure, I agree with you.
They got a siege comp,
principle.
They got a siege comp, remember?
But I think they had a siege comp before the Vladimir.
Yeah, that's true.
Was 400 CS and 6 items.
Still, though, the fact that they've still been able to keep this going is
it is
impressive.
truly amazing.
Next Baron's going to be pretty decisive.
Next Elder Dragon.
Also true. Next, you would hope the game would end on that. After, I want to see the gold graph when this game is over, and it's just going to look like a roller coaster.
Yep, I agree. I want to see my blood pressure after this game.
Also going to look like a roller coaster.
No, it's just going to... Yeah, it is, but it's like the Tower of Terror. Like, it's just been a
it goes up, it
climb.
goes down.
Yeah. But the thing is that the one play that we've seen consistently out of Avant is that Ash Arrow into the Requiem. And, you know, potentially Shock going to... Swathe going to be there to clean up. And I think that that's why, you know, when you have a look at Shock's build, it was a very early Magi's. It was into the Spellbinder very early. But that just hasn't landed lately. And
it's also been stopwatches, which are now broken.
Yeah, absolutely. All the broken stopwatches, but they are going towards GAs and the likes of Zhonya's Hourglasses. And they are really a one punch, smack you in the mouth kind of comp. And they are against, you know, a Hex Drinker, Bloodthirster Caitlyn now, who is 6 items nearly.
Yeah, that's the real threat here. I mean, I think if
Look
you
at
are
that
Avant,
shield.
you have to delete the Caitlyn first, and then you can take the fight.
But how do you do it?
That's the question.
She's so hard to get to.
Well protected. Looks like Avant are pinging for topside. They just want to open up more of the map if they can. Remember, there's still an outer, or an inner rather, remaining.
Yep, absolutely. Order still have an outer remaining.
And
they've got
they
nowhere
should
in
be
the
able to
bottom
grab
lane.
it soon.
I don't know if they're ever going to go bot pyre. Like,
It's kind of a risky play with the Baron coming up.
yeah, it certainly is. That's kind of the area in.
Oh, Dream is frontlining here. He's feeling himself a little bit. Pot shot starting to be taken at this tower. Avant not able to stop it. However, the hook is going to come in. Missed.
Arrow
They do have
land.
the Ash Arrow, and it's instantly cleansed away.
But look
Dream
at
back
Dream.
to the front line again. Swathe trying to delete someone on the back line. And there's the shield going
Dream.
down. Dream flashing, healing. He's staying alive, and redemption for Order once more.
And Swiffer's just caught out of position.
Yes, he is. Do they have the damage to delete him? Alidoric gonna fall. Dream with the auto attacks. You can see Chippy's trying to go in, and everyone on Order's got a bad case of Hemo Plague, but Spooks is the only one who's gonna drop from it.
Yeah, certainly is, and now Chippy.
Here's the bait. Swaith looking for more, but Swaith gets turned on once again. The ball comes through. It's Swiffer that tags him. It's a 1-for-1 trade so far, but there is so much burst damage.
But once again, Chippies gets all the summoner spells out of order. So even though it looks like an even team fight, you would argue that the next one should be easier. And Dream is starting to really flirt with danger. You can see the young tendencies of a rookie AD carry coming out. 30 seconds until Baron still has not reset. Needs to get back on that map. And I just feel sorry for the supports. They're just getting bopped.
Yeah, like, well, at this point, they can't keep up with the damage that's being dealt. Here's that fight again.
And you can see that Dream tries to bait it in. Alidoric layers it very nicely, and this is where you start to really worry because Dream has to flash. Tally was too far away from him. The redemption comes down. Maybe from Spooks. Who knows?
Swiffer had a great scout of the week there, though.
That is a game-saving play coming out of Swiffer. Spooks thought with the shields that were available, as well as the redemption, they would be able to get him up, but they weren't able to.
Ooh, Jake almost dies too. And as we come back, Avant just say, screw it, let's take the Baron, but now there's going to be a race for the Elder Drake.
Yeah, there certainly is, and now this is going to be a 5v5, not in a lane. This is going to be a 5v5 in the river. I wonder how far Order commit to this Dragon.
Here come the traps, though. Avant are going to have a hard time getting into this one. Dragon resets a little bit here. They do find an arrow. It's onto the Caitlyn, but Dream is going to get back to the rest of the team. Chippy's forced to move away. Here comes the wave coming out of Jake to push them back. Ace in the hole on Swaith. Takes him down nearly to 0, and it's going to be an Elder
reset again.
Baron trade as they back away. It does reset, but Avant don't want any more of this, and it's going to be flipped on its head. Second Elder to Order, but the Baron to Avant.
Yeah, it certainly is, and you can see how close this game is. Now Avant, however, all the priority in the world, can break the base in a second location. Dream slow to rotate one more time.
They're going to get this, but I think they're going to have to back away. One more hit, just barely they're able to secure it, but you can tell that Avant don't want the fight anymore.
No, certainly don't. They're going to look to jockey with their Baron buff. Look for potentially a pick here. And this game on a knife's edge, Pyro, between these two teams. 42 minutes.
One fight would end this one right now. One decisive fight would all be over. Order running down the mid lane. One more shot to finish that inner tower. The rest of Avant scrambling to try and defend.
So now let's watch the teleport. It's coming in right now. Order pinging it out.
They know what's happening. Here's Chippies. He's not going to go directly for the flank here. But how will the turn happen? Kozik's nowhere near. Swaith, they're not going to take this. Minions still pushing on the bottom side, slowly marching in.
Certainly are, and Order can't allow the base to be broken in 2 locations, so they have to go clean it up.
But man, how close has this game gotten?
This is insane. This game is absolute insanity. Tally has himself a teleport, so can clear out this wave. However, now that gives a numbers mismatch, and by the time teleport channels, I mean, the game's probably all over. They can't secure the red buff for Dream, so not going to have it in the next team fight.
Just trying to keep those waves pushed, keep the pressure on. Use the advantages they do have with the Baron buff, and wait out the Elder Dragon picked up by Order. You can see, though, Dream has just been so crucial in setting these up. Those traps really dissuaded Avant from going anywhere because that Caitlyn is just going to blow you away.
Yeah, certainly. A 6-item Caitlyn versus no tanks is probably the best champion in the game. You know, doesn't have an attack speed steroids, but has the range to keep them at bay and has those traps for the increased damage on the crits, and now legitimately has 6 items.
Yep. And now we're at that point where she's scary again. Very scary. Traps down. Even Alidoric's just like, nah, I'm not going to hook that. It's not happening. Swiffer trying to get a scout of the week off on the side. Avant, though, are playing back well enough. Chippy's still marching minions into mid. He's going to try to make something happen on the bottom side as well. Doesn't have his teleport cooldown. Tally does.
Well, the thing about Chippies is I don't think anyone can kill him apart from Dream. Maybe Swiffer, right?
And if Dream leaves, then
then they just take top lane turret. So I don't know if they can actually stop Chippies on this next wave from just shoving in and just auto-attacking it to death.
That's true.
Still, and then Order can't afford to lose double inhibitors.
Avant are in a bit of a minefield, though, trying to step to the Caitlyn. Now Tally will try to go toe-to-toe. Dream does come through, but look, immediately, all of a sudden, it's starting to open up the top lane, but they don't want to go for it. They're scared.
Yeah, they certainly are, and once again, Chippies just goes back, gets another cheeky auto attack on that inhibitor, trying to push it down. And you can see Dream He's a really big Caitlyn, but the game
only
is
one.
just... Oh!
Arrow,
It's
it's in. There's the hook. It's going to intercept Spooks. He goes back and away, and here comes the wave to try and push him off, but Chippy does open up the base once again on bottom.
Certainly do. So now double inhibitor is down, and it's going to stay down for that next Baron buff, especially in the bottom lane play. So Order, 2 minutes to decide how they want to play this map, and Avant just staying on the front foot. And if there was ever a doubt whether the young team of Avant Gaming were legitimate contenders, I think this game answers that. They built themselves the early game lead. Sure, they faltered in the mid game, which you never want to see, but they have stuck so well to this game plan, Pyra. They are a very well-drummed team, and they know exactly how they have to end this game. They're playing it patiently. They're playing with the control.
Yeah. Making the best of the situation when they couldn't close it out early enough to try and take it to the logical conclusion. Really big kudos to Avant for what they've already accomplished in the short 5 weeks that we've had here, this being the 5th week of the OPL. But this really does start to put them in contention for great things. I think.
Absolutely. I mean, a good side of a consistent team is they've only lost to people who are above them on the ladder. That sounds like such a weird thing to say, but or to drop that game to Gravitas, have that really close game versus the Direwolves. So not necessarily the same compliments can be said about Order.
But they have been able to pull this back, which is, as you said, a miracle.
Order are kind of more wildcardy, to be honest. You know, they beat the Chiefs, a team that is currently sitting on top of the ladder.
They're the only team.
Yeah, only team that were able to beat them. So, you know, when you would expect the veterans to be more consistent and the rookies to be a little bit more up and down, that is certainly not how this game is played.
I think that's the weirdest thing, too, because when you talk about Order, it's always about they're, in a lot of ways, a standard team. Yet they have the most wild card results.
Yep.
That is very weird.
Well, it's because they play big 5v5, like smash bang, right? And even though this isn't the most flashy 5v5 comp, this is still very much a 5v5. Like, you need everyone on the screen to do their job. Otherwise, you're not going to win it.
Yeah.
Dream is so scared of that wall of pain.
Should be. Everybody's starting to sting. Locket of the Iron Solari for Spooks. I hadn't noticed that earlier.
He's a full support Lee Sin.
Yeah. No, he's a tanky boy. He's everyone get defended.
Order have to get Baron right now, because otherwise second Elder is going to be up in 29 seconds.
Look at who's controlling it, but the problem is they are a little split off. You see Guncrab is on kind of wave clear duty here, and if he did come to collapse, he'd have to join his team. Chippy's behind the pit.
All right, so here we go. They've started it up.
All right, does the collapse come in from AV here is the question. Arrow does land. It's on to Nami. There's the Requiem. They're trying to sniff in, and it looks like it's going to be Hemo Plague. The collapse on 3 fronts from Avant should be enough to end this one. 1, 2, 3, and they will clean house here. Dream walks away, but it doesn't matter when everybody else is dead.
And they will just be able to go bottom lane right now. Surprise Chippies is recalling, but he's going to teleport in. And this will just be the game. Dream needs to legitimately 1v5.
Yeah, and I don't think you can do that as an AD carry. Unfortunately, he finally falls down. There's the big shutdown. Chippies is already at the Nexus. And from going to being almost over at 20 minutes, the game goes more than double that length. But Avant take it in the end and cement their 3rd place position.
And what a game. What an early game out of Avant Gaming, and what a great team composition. But Order stuck with the play, were able to fight their way back into it, unfortunately falling short at the 50-minute mark.
Order played out of their minds to come back into an impossible game.
Yeah.
But Avant just got it together at the right moments and didn't give them enough to push it over the edge.
Well, you could see that Avant knew how to play their comp, and I just kept going back to it, right? They were only fighting when they had ultimates and summoners available. They knew that if Chippies didn't have Flash, he wasn't going to be able to get onto the backline. They knew if they didn't have Requiem, Ash Arrow, they didn't have the pick potential. So what happened was that they executed it so well in the early game, right? They just picked on bottom lane, like continued to drill that, build themselves a big lead. I think they missed 3 of them in the mid game. That allowed the game to stall out. Unfortunately, a Baron steal came across, but the impressive thing is that you would expect a young team to throw the game plan out of the window at that point.
And just panic.
Start, looking for more rush plays, thinking, we're going against a 6-item Caitlyn. This could turn into a bad thing. But the impressive thing is they just say, you know what? We're just going to wait for summoner spells. We're going to wait for ultimates. We're going to wait for the big neutral objectives. We're going to get this out of a siege, and we're going to turn it into a team fight. And we're going to run over the top of them. And it didn't work a couple of times. And then that last team fight, Chippies did finally get in, killed everyone.
Stick to the game plan. You get the W. All right, back over to the couch to discuss it.
I don't have it in me anymore. I'm too old. My goodness. I mean, it looked like order were done from basically 5 minutes onwards. And then it just kept going. What happened? Because, Bryce, you told me that if order lose in the bot lane with that comp, it's basically done. And then it wasn't.
Well, that's kind of what happened, right? Like, this is a very weird draft from the get-go. First pick Thresh, I feel like that's a pretty baller move out of AV, pretty baller move out of Aladoric. He's a good Thresh. And then to answer that with the Morg banned away with a Caitlyn, already first picks from both sides, I'm sitting there like, man, like what is going on? Kate Nami into Thresh lane is very hard, and basically what we expected to happen in that situation happened. Like the bot lane from Order had a very rough time early, and it is literally a Caitlyn comp. Choo said it in the interview, it has to go even or ahead to be useful in the late game, and then that didn't happen for like 20 minutes.
Yeah, basically, like, you would set this game up the second they lock in Caitlyn Nami. You're like, okay, our jungler goes bot side, that Lee Sin will not get access to that lane, we control the area, and then that is such a difficult way to play League of Legends if your order's 2v2, right? You have no safe space to be, and the contrast to this, and we were discussing it, right, is that the Karma needs help a fair bit into the early game. The Vladimir's going to outscale so hard, so Karma needs to start super strong. And then, like, what is the Spooks to do is the question, right? End of the game was build Redemption, Locket, and Knight's Vow, and just become a support for Caitlyn. But in the early and mid game, he didn't have a good option, and that's the hardest thing to do.
Because he doesn't want to go top. He desperately needs to help his bottom lane, and like is just split between the map, and he's just all over the place looking for something. It is hilarious that he goes, like, there were some very funny things that game. Like, it's hilarious he goes back to, like, the Redemption, Locket, Lee Sin.
Sells lethality for it as well.
He has a Dirk, like, obviously halfway through, he's like, man, like, this Dirk isn't going to win me the game. I'm switching it up. Has Dirk, sells it, goes, like, Crystalline Bracer into Redemption, builds Locket, is sitting on a Giant's Belt the entire time, but at the end, has, like, a Kindle Gem to go towards, like, a Knight's Vow. But, like, the bigger thing as well, I think, is that, like, this wasn't... The game didn't close how it should have, right? AV did get the win in the end, but they actually gave the game back, in my eyes, to Order. Like, there was a lot of miscommunication and undisciplined play. They got caught around Baron. It stalled out from, like, the 30-minute point where Order did get allowed, like, they were allowed to set up their 5v5, and it did shine for a little bit. Like, we saw Dream, despite having a disastrous laning phase, he was able to 1v5 at times up mid.
Absolutely. I mean, the thing is, like, I will say our AV's mid game was a bit shaky, right? And it was individuals feeling forced to make plays almost, is how it felt, right? Like Aladoric flashing in the top jungle, dying to a Syndra, just missing the hook, and, you know, those types of things. I think what is commendable for AV, however, is that in the middle of the game, once that didn't work, they didn't do it again. You know, they worked it out, they got the recipe for success, and they slowed the game down until they got it. It's just that those mid-game hiccups were definitely noticeable.
Yes, and the last thing I want to hit on is Frostmancy.
Yeah.
Because I have some pretty big opinions about this. This was the first time we have seen it in the OPL. We've seen it all over the place. We've seen it in LCK. But I genuinely think, this is going to be very harsh, I genuinely think Order's understanding of what that does was fundamentally flawed this game. You absolutely need a TP mid laner for this to work. Whether it's Liss, Ryze, like Vlad can be in mid lane, whatever TP mid laner you can play in this current meta. Because if you're picking Frostmancy Karma, like there are enough answers at the moment. Like the answers in top lane are either like you punish it in the laning phase because it's a weak like Karma support champion, or you match it with like a coin Vladimir and you outscale. So you don't necessarily just like win the early game. You can, and if you do, then it's fine to not have a TP mid laner. But that's not how League of Legends works. You can't just decide to win from draft. Like, AV has to really screw that up for that to happen. And then, because once you get to late game, Karma has to be there for the Caitlyn. But he just can't, because Chip is in the side lane, just whacking him around, doing absolutely everything. Swiffer, because he's heal Syndra, cannot side lane. Syndra doesn't want to side lane at all.
You can't anyway against the Vlad because you pick Syndra for lane. You know, so it's the 2-for-1 there.
You will live. So, like, you need a mid laner that can go to the side lane so that basically you get to a point where Karma can build Ardent, Athene's, Redemption, Crucible, all the support items, all the enchanter items for the Caitlyn, and then group with her so your mid lane can side lane for you at the end. The top and mid literally just swap in the comp because you have to play 4-1. Unless you're just randomly winning the game because you outplay your opponents, you can't just choose as this comp when AV have the lead, be like, let's just 5-man it up mid, because that doesn't work. You can't just 5v4 because Chippies will just end the game on the side lane. And I think like that was a big thing why when AV got the lead, I genuinely don't think there was a way for Order to win that game unless AV threw, which we almost saw.
Yeah.
But like that's how I see it at least.
All right, but ultimately, AV did take out the win, and we've got one of those winners at the desk right now with Pyra, and it's Chibies.
Thank you very much, Nick Boy. Yeah, so you guys had a long game, but you pulled out the win in the end. You managed to kind of take yourself that sole possession of third place. How is it feeling for a team that didn't have, really lofty expectations, I think, in the fans' eyes coming into this split, to now be one of the top 3?
Yeah, obviously it feels good when you're the underdog team and you just keep putting up these good performances against really good teams like Order, Mammoth, stuff like that. But I personally didn't think we should have been rated so low because I think our roster has a lot of good players.
I think that's fair that you guys have definitely shown a lot of talent, and especially in different ways. Talking about this game specifically, though, this game seemed in the bag at like 25 minutes, but then the Baron steal happened. Can you tell me a little bit about what the comms, what the feeling was like in the team when that happened?
Yeah, when they stole Baron, the team's just silent. Everyone's like, oh. But then we just like recovered within about 5 or 10 seconds. Just what's next, what's next. So I feel like it did like startle us for a bit, but I think we are able to like recover pretty quick.
So you kept to the game plan. That was good. But as was pointed out, you guys kind of had some troubles dealing with the Caitlyn slowly building up on these items. Was there ever a point where you felt like, oh, we might just drop this game here? This could actually happen.
Nah, I felt pretty confident because I did nothing all game, right? Just split pushing. But I got like 4 or 5 big items. I'm like, all right, I'm going to flank these guys and we'll win the game soon. And it took like 50 minutes, but I finally got one in the end, so I was pretty happy with that.
Cool. It just kept going at it. Eventually it worked out.
Yeah.
And then I guess a little bit about the specific choice that you made for this game. You picked the Vladimir as kind of like a pick into this Frostmancy Karma top. Is that something you'd prepared for that scenario, or you just felt, yeah, I can bop the Karma?
Yeah, I had like 3 or 4 picks ready because I knew he was going to play Karma today, but they did ban like some of the ones I wanted, so I think their preparation was really good.
Oh, well, good stuff. Well, so Order definitely gave you guys a hard time towards the end, but you pulled out the win. Congratulations again, Chippies.
Thanks.
All right, we're going to send it back over to the couch once again.
Feeling pretty good?
Yeah, feeling great, as I should be.
Feeling good?
Pretty good.